Hello, this is my channel Humblehus. Welcome. We are doing leg warmers today. A suggestion from one of my lovely subscribers. What you'll need for the following project is a crochet hook, size 5.5, scissors, yarn needle, stitch markers or paper clips, and a ruler. Of course, the most important thing is the yarn. I will be using this Bernat Baby Velvet by Yarnspirations. It's a medium 4. The recommended hook size is a 5mm, and yes, I know I'm using a 5.5. You will need 2 different colors for this. I am using this misty green and tiny teal. I got these at Michael's. Now, every child is different, and the best thing to do is to measure the child's either the thigh or the calf, depending on if you want them above the knee or below the knee. I will add sizing charts with recommended measurements. Now, these are just estimated because my daughter's legs are completely different than my son. He had like spaghetti legs, and then my other son, he was average. So she's the chunkiest one. It's just so hard to know what your baby will have. But it's always better to size up, that way they will fit. Unless of course that size falls into the summer months, then I know, happens. I will try to go as slow as possible so that everyone can follow along. So bear with me. Start with your slip knot. You make a loop, your yarn. You take your hook, insert through the middle, go under it and grab this end. Pull it through that circle and carefully hold on to both ends and pull on your hook. Once it's tight, then adjust that loop onto your hook. Chain 6. So yarn over, pull through the loop. That's 1. Yarn over, pull through the loop. That's 2 chains. Do a total of 6 chains. There are 6 chains. And normally you would go back and insert your hook through this loop right here. But we are going to twist our chains, and I know this yarn, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's always one loop here in the middle that you need to go through. Hope you can see that. And do your single crochet by doing a yarn over, pull through that loop, then yarn over, pull through both loops. And again, so I think you can see that's one of the loops. That's another one of the loops. So it's always the one squished between the 2 outer ones. And now I have 5 single crochets. We started with 6 chains, therefore you will only have 5 single crochets. Now turn your work and chain 1. This we will count as row number 2. So the base chain with those first 5 double crochets, that was row number 1. Now this is row number 2. Now you need to single crochet into the back loop only. See how there's 2 loops? But you only want to go into the back ones. Go back and you need to have 5 single crochets only through the back loop. Turn your work, chain 1 again. This is row number 3, and again only through the back loops. We will do the single crochets. Continue with these rows, always through the back loop only, until you reach the measurement that you need for your size. I have reached my desired length. Like I said, take the measurements with a grain of salt. If you have the baby at hand, perfect. If you don't, then it's a gamble. Just as a reference, my daughter is 11 months old and she wears a size 18 to 24 months. Chain 1 after your last row. Now add the 2 sides. Be careful not to twist it. And then insert through both loops through this first one. And then go across. Line it up and then do a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull it through, and then pull that through the loop on your hook. So that was one, then go into that second one. Again, yarn over, pull it through, and through the loop on your hook. As you can see, I have to sometimes kind of feel my way through it because it's not always visible. Turn this inside out. We already chained one. Now you can see that there's these rows in between, so that's always like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to go into this next stitch after that, where I have my chain. Just simply go there, and I'm going to run this loose yarn along so that it gets threaded in. There's one, and then I'll go on the other side of that. And I'm going to add my stitch marker here in that first one, just so I know where I started. So that was the first one, this is the second one. Now connect the 2 sides with a slip stitch, so here where your stitch marker is. You can remove the stitch marker now. This is the part where we want to switch out the colors. Take your new yarn and pass it through that loop or that chain that you made. Pull tight on the old color. Now we let go of this. And this color, you have to make sure it's behind. So like on the side, because you don't want to crochet and then the yarn being in front. Now let's chain 4. This is where it gets a little tricky, but bear with me. So you have the 4 chains, right? So from your hook, you don't want to insert into the first one. You want to insert your hook into the second loop. That. Then yarn over and pull up a loop. Then skip the 3rd chain and into the 4th one. You do the same thing. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now you move on to the next stitch. Okay, this is where we did the chain, so this is the next stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on your hook. Now yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull again through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's your first linked treble. Now this is really hard to see, right? It's like, where do I insert my hook? There's this one right here, and this one down here. So you insert your hook through that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then this bottom one, just through one, yarn over, pull up a loop, then go into the next stitch and insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do one more. So if you divide it like this, here's that first loop and here's that second loop. So insert your hook through that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, then go down here, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, then go into the next stitch. You go through both of those loops. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, so I hope that you can manage to keep going. So you insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, and pull through as usual 3 times. And it's completely up to you if you decide to go into the horizontal loops that you see down here, or just the vertical ones, like the ones I'm doing. It is up to you. Remember that crochet needs to be fun and different. So I just like going through here better, but you do it the way you like. So finish this round and I will meet you back here to show you how to connect the sides. Now we need to connect the 2 sides, and this is kind of tricky. I think a lot of people just don't really know how to connect the 2 sides when you have linked trebles. So my way of doing it is the following. Now you may have a different one. If you want to share it, that would be lovely, but this is how I like to do it. So I start like I would normally start my next stitch, but then I go across to that chain of 4 that we have, and I try to insert into that bottom chain, and I yarn over and do a regular slip stitch. So I have 3 loops on my hook. Then I go into the next chain and I yarn over and do a slip stitch as well, but not only through those 2 loops, but through 3 of the loops. And then I go into that top chain and I yarn over, and again I go through all 3 loops. And that's how I connect these 2 sides. Now you're going to, remember, put this on the back of where you're working and pull up the color, the old color, so that first color that you have, pull it up and chain 1. Now you can pull on that old color, so this acts as your little loop that you had. Now we chain 4 again, and we start as usual into the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then into that 4th stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then you just gotta be careful where you're going to insert your hook. So you want to go into that next stitch and yarn over, pull up a loop, and start pulling through 2 loops 3 times. Then again, you go into that second loop and that bottom loop and into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. Go all the way around, and I'll show you how to do the connection one more time. Now please make sure that you have the same amount of stitches in every round. And then the way I connect this, let me show you again. I just start my stitch as usual. Go across. And I do a slip stitch. Then I go to the next chain and I do a slip stitch again, but I pass it through 3 loops. And then I go into that last stitch that last chain, top chain, and I do a slip stitch also through all of the loops. Don't forget to put this one in the back, and then pick up your old color or that second color that you have. Plus I have this loose one from when I added the new color, which I'm going to run along so it's threaded in and I don't have to do it later. First you grab that color and you pull up a loop and pull tight on that old color so that you have the loop of the new color. Now chain 4 and do your length trebles as usual. Find that first stitch. Right, now continue doing, so for this size, 7 rows in total, switching the colors back and forth, and the rows that you need for your sizing. Here's a list of how many rows you want to do approximately. There are my 7 rows that I did, 2, 4, 6, 7. Now we go back to the color that I started with. So after you connected them, you simply pull up that color again, chain 1, and we're going to do single crochets for this next round, but we need to add some decreases. In my case, I will do a total of 6 decreases for this size. Now if you don't want your leg warmers narrow at the bottom, then you can keep them straight like that, just simply don't do any decreases. And the reason being is that I want the bottom part that my daughter isn't stepping on it. I just want it to be narrower. So I single crochet in now the next stitch. I think I have like 4 here. Then the next stitch I will insert my hook and start my single crochet, but then I will go into the next stitch and do also the beginning of a single crochet, so that will leave me with 3 loops on my hook. Now I yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's one of my decreases. Then I'll do another 3 or 4 stitches. And I'll do another decrease. To connect these 2 ends, you simply slip stitch into that first one. Now we're going to chain 2 this time because we're going to do double crochets all around. So you yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Go all the way around until you reach this side again. In order to connect the 2 sides, you simply slip stitch into the top chain of the chain of 2 that you made at the beginning. That. Now chain 2 again, and we are going to work behind our work, in front of our work, behind our work, in front of our work, all around these posts. But they're all going to be double crochets. So you yarn over, you go behind your work, between these posts, and then over it, and finish your double crochet as usual. Let me show you again. Yarn over, now you're going in front of your work, and finish your double crochet as usual. One more time. Yarn over behind our work between these posts and finish your double crochet. We do the front one more time. Yarn over in front of our work between the posts, around, and finish your double crochet as usual. Do that all the way around, and then we're technically done. Now at the end, just join with a slip stitch into that first stitch that we made. Now cut off your yarn. I like to just pull it through, tighten it, as well as the other yarn that we had. I'll turn this inside out. See how it looks? All we need to do, so this was also what we worked into our yarn. So with your yarn needle, you will go between like the stitches and then go back again, forming a type of loop. So do that with both yarns and cut off the rest. And we did it. These are my version of baby leg warmers. I really hope that you try them out. Just be patient. I mean, they look adorable. I don't know how long my daughter will be able to wear them because it doesn't get very cold where we live, but they're so cute. Please subscribe and join me on my next video. I think I will have one out in 2 weeks, so not next week because I'm working on different projects. Follow me at Humblehus on Instagram and tag me with your work. I would love to see it. Thank you for joining me once again. This is Humblehus. Bye.